Parashas Shoftim, Tavshin Pei Beis. So Baruch Hashem, we're back here at Bikur Cholim after the last 3 weeks from Eretz Yisrael. Of course, we were hoping that we wouldn't have to come back, that you would all join us there. But hopefully we'll get to go back soon. And the week before that, we did the shir at OTL. So it's been a little while since we've been here at Bikur Cholim, and it's good to be back. The beautiful smell of the Toyamel here, always something good to have for Thursday night. Let's get right back into the shir. We'll speak about the Parsha a little bit, and of course we'll speak about Chodesh Elul and Rosh Hashanah coming up, and we'll mix it all together. So there's a very familiar pasuk in Tehillim, which we're going to say also Rosh Hashanah night. We're going to say it over the Yom Noraim. We say it every Sunday in the Yom. Also, very familiar pasuk to everybody. Se'u she'arim rasheichem v'hinasu pischei olam v'yavoi melech hakavod. Everybody familiar with this pasuk, and if you analyze the pasuk a little bit, you'll see that the pasuk speaks about she'arim and pesachim. The pasuk speaks about gateways and entranceways. And in order, we know always that in order to enter the inner chambers of anything, a person has to first traverse the courtyards, right? When you go into any place, so first we walk across the courtyards, the driveways, the approaches, and then we enter the inner chambers of where we have to go. And that's really what this pasuk is talking about, the different entranceways and gateways. Now, the Nesivos Shalom tells us that really by avodas Hashem, by serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it really works the same way that if a person wants to elevate, now we're in a time of the year of Elul where people are trying to introspect a little bit. We're trying to look into what we did in the past. And as we mentioned in the past shiurim from Eretz Yisrael, that Elul is a very positive time. It's not a time to be down. It's not a time to be depressed. We use Elul as an opportunity, and it's this time of the year that we actually want to concentrate on how to make our avodas Hashem better. So Nesivos Shalom tells us that if a person wants to raise their level, and everybody does at this time of the year, you want to raise your level of ruchnius, you want to raise your entire being, the first thing you need to do is guard the outer, you need to guard the entrance ways to the person. And what does that mean? That a person has to watch their eyes, their nose, their mouth, their ears. You need to protect your entranceways. As we mentioned, that is the first line of defense. That is the first place that anything enters into. And a person at this time of the year, we have to concentrate on protecting our entranceways very vigilantly. You have to be careful, and we know we always have to be careful, but now we can concentrate on it a bit more. We should be careful what we see, what we look at. We should be careful with what we listen to, not to listen to leitzanos and lashon hara, rechilos, all these things that could really be very, very detrimental and dangerous to a person. We have to be careful. Be careful what you look at, what you listen to, how you speak, all the entrance ways of a person. You keep watch over all those things. And when you do keep watch over those things, it protects your inner chambers, which is your soul, your neshama. So understand that if you watch yourself now with what you listen to and how you speak, what you look at, and all those type of things, then you're protecting your neshama. you're preparing yourself. They have a great influence. All these things, when they do enter a person, they have a great influence over your midos and your actions. And we know the Balei Musar tell us, Nesivos Shalom speaks about it also in this week's parsha, that every action that a person does can really be traced back to the things that you let into your doorways. If you look at something, that will cause you to do a certain action. If you listen to things you shouldn't listen to, if you speak in ways that you shouldn't do, it has a tremendous effect on your actions, and it brings a person to do things that they would not necessarily want to do. So you have to watch the things that you let into your doorways. Se'u sha'arim rasheichem. The pasuk tells us, Se'u sha'arim rasheichem v'hinasu pischei olam. We're saying, Se'u sha'arim rasheichem. The outer entrance ways that we have, let's lift them up. V'hinasu pischei olam. Let's lift up and make better our entrance ways. It will protect our inner chambers of our nefesh and our neshama. And only then, if we watch our entrance ways and we watch our she'arim and our psachim, we follow that pasuk of Se'u she'arim rasheichem v'inasu pischei olam, then v'yavoi melech hakavod. If this time of the year we watch our entrance ways and our gateways, our mouths, our ears, our way that we speak, the way we listen to things, our eyes, the way we look at things, the way we absorb things, and we're more protective of that, then we are doing a tremendous service for our neshama. And what we say, what David HaMelech is telling us in the Pasuk in Tehillim, is that if you do that, then you watch what you listen to and you look at, and you speak and all those things, and what you this time of the year, then v'yavoi melech hakavod. Then you prepare yourself for the Rosh Hashanah. You prepare yourself for the Yemei Adin. Another pshat, the Nesivos Shalom tells us, another pshat on this pasuk of Se'u she'arim rasheichem, is that the she'arim, everybody knows, we learn in Musar, that the she'arim refer to Chodesh Elul. Chodesh Elul is a gateway and the entranceway to the new year. The new year may start in Tishrei, but Elul is an entranceway to the new year, and only after Chodesh Elul, then we come to the inner chamber, as we mentioned at the beginning of the shir. First you have to traverse the outer chamber. Once we pass by Chodesh Elul, then we're ready to come into the inner chamber. We're ready for Rosh Hashanah. We're ready for Yom Kippur. But during Elul, we need to do all the preparations for Rosh Hashanah. When we prepare for Rosh Hashanah, those are the she'arim, the gateways to the Yemei Adin. So when Rosh Hashanah comes, then it's already time for something else. It's time at Rosh Hashanah not to prepare, not for tshuva. That's the time now in Elul. When Rosh Hashanah comes, that is the time to crown Hashem already as the king. And by that time, we should have shown Hashem already that we're much more careful with what we do and what we listen to and what we see. During Elul, we purify our entranceways. All the things that we mentioned, the different entranceways to a person. But when Rosh Hashanah comes along, then we have already accomplished that, and we're ready to work on the inside. We're ready to work on the inside of the person. So the Torah tells us in our parsha, and this always comes out during the month of Elul, the Torah tells us, Shoftim v'shoitrim titen lecha b'chol she'arecha. Very apropos for what the lesson that we're discussing tonight, that a person has to set up like policemen. You have to set up guards, titen lecha b'chol she'arecha, on all the entranceways to a person's body, on all the things, our eyes that we absorb, things that we see, our ears that we're listening to things. We should be listening to Torah. We should be listening to things that have to do with Avodas Hashem, Gemilas Chasadim. We should not be listening to Lashon Hara, Rechilus, and all those kind of things that, as we mentioned, could destroy a person, that are terrible for a person for the Yom Adin. All those kind of things. We have to set up the guards now. Shoftim v'shoitrim titan lecha b'chol sharecha. That now, during Elul, we have to place those at our gates, at our entranceways. We have to be misaking the entranceways. So, Asher Hashem alekecha noisein lach. That Hashem will want to be with us, will want to be close to us. We fix things when Rosh Hashanah comes. We're able to use that time for the purpose to coronate Hashem as the king, as the Melech. We shouldn't be playing catch up when it comes to Rosh Hashanah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in His great chesed, gave us the month of Elul to prepare, to take care of all those guarding our entranceways now. And we need to work on really leaving all the shtusim and all the things behind, to realize that it's never too late. We're always able to grow. Hashem always wants us back. We really want to change our ways, and a real change that will have a real lasting and real effect on our neshama, which is in the inner chamber, on our neshama ultimately, because that's really the goal. But it starts, as we said, it starts now by guarding the outer parts of the city, by guarding our outer actions to begin a new way. And what kind of change do we have to make? The Nesivos Shalom tells us, the Pasuk tells us in Yeshaya, Ya'azoiv Rasha Darkoi. We read this Pasuk on a Tainis Tzibur, everybody knows in Haftorah. He said, Nesivos Shalom said you should notice that it tells that the Pasuk doesn't tell us Ya'azoiv Rasha Maisa, that you should leave your actions that you do. It says Ya'azoiv Rasha Darkoi, get off the road. Don't try just to say, you know what, I'll tinker a little bit here. Of course, you have to improve slowly. But the Navi is telling us, the Nesivos Shalom brings from the Beis Avram, the Navi specifically tells us you need to be ready to go on a whole new road. That if up to this time we weren't watching already, you weren't watching really so much, and everybody has their ups and downs, they're better, they're worse sometimes, but if you weren't watching the things that you speak, the things that you listen, the things that you see with your eyes, you need to know you have to be ready, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you, change directions. Go on a totally new path. You need to be ready to go on a whole new road. Ya'azoiv Rasha Darkoi. Leave it behind. Hashem, well, don't worry, Hashem won't say, you faker. No, it doesn't work that way. Hashem sees that you change your ways and He's ready to accept you. That's what tshuva is all about. You make new rules now forever. Whatever I was before, that was me before. But now I'm going to grow. Now I'm going to start watching my outer entranceways, because that's the path to my neshama. I want my neshama to be different. And that is really Elul, where we want to make new rules. We want to go on a new road. And here in our parsha, Shoitrim v'Shoitrim Titan Lecha B'chol Shorecha, the Torah is telling us that now when we're getting a week into Elul already, the Torah is telling us, you know where you start? Watch by guarding your outer things. Guard the things you speak, you listen, you see, and we can't say it enough times. That's what it's all about. And we're going to say on Rosh Hashanah night, we're going to understand that it has a different meaning. It has the meaning of Elul, where we will have had a successful Elul, and it has the meaning of us watching the outside before we get into the inside. That's really the lesson that we can learn from the Nesivos Shalom, from this week's Parsha. And in that schus, Hashem should see that we're making the changes, that we should make the changes, and we become better people.